the way that we present ourselves and how we convey ourselves, our tone, our personality, our values, all the stuff that comes across that we create in our content, and then how other people perceive that, that's our personal brand. And so whether or not you are building a personal brand with intention, you're still building one by virtue of creating content. And so why not do it intentionally? Why not do it deliberately so that you have control and influence over how people are perceiving you, you know? So again, you literally are setting the tone for who you'll attract with your messaging by putting those vibrations out in your content. And I apologize if you can hear my cat meowing. I just kicked her out of the room, so might hear her in the background, but hopefully she'll simmer down.
Worry about it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, all you pet lovers probably can relate.
Well, I have 3 huge dogs over here, so.
Oh yeah, I think I heard them barking on one of our calls.
Yeah.
But there's a saying in AA, we believe in attraction rather than promotion. And so it's like, going back to the example that I used on our last call, you don't go around saying, hey, I'm a good person. Hey,
Right.
I believe in service to others. Hey, you guys, I'm like all about growth. We don't like, that's a very in your face kind of contrived, almost like forced feeling way of communicating, it's like you can tell someone you love them or you can show them.
True.
And so that's kind of like what we're doing with our content, is figuring that stuff out, figuring out how we can articulate it to ourselves so that we can then communicate that through our content, and not through, hi, my name is Barb. I value these things. I am here to help this person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So showing rather than telling. So this is kind of like what the standard kind of process or model is for thinking about like how to pick a niche. So if anyone is out there either on this call or watching this replay, and you're not sure about what niche to select, this is kind of the process you can go through to determine what your niche can or should be.
Okay.
Colleen says she had a tooth pulled and her face is numb. No problem. I'm glad you're here. So start off with 5 niches that you know or are passionate about. And so you can, like, for anyone that doesn't know like what the word niche is, or you'll also hear it pronounced niche, that's just like basically a topic, a category, a subject area. So that could be like, for me, I'll just throw some examples out. Obviously affiliate marketing, kind of entrepreneurship in general, and online business, mindset, manifestation, law of attraction, that type of a thing. Basketball, keto diet, health and fitness kind of in general, running, half marathons, addiction recovery. Like those are kind of some niches that I know. And I actually made a TikTok last night about this, but it was like, it's like that trend you may have seen on TikTok where it's things I could talk about forever. Like, what are those things you could talk about forever, And those are the things for me. I also included like Golden Girls. I don't know that I would like, have pick Golden Girls as a niche per se, but think of things that you could talk about all day because you are so knowledgeable about them, like, or things that you could talk about all day because you're passionate about them, or things that you're curious about, but things that like lead you to them because they spark interest and joy.
Gotcha.
Then think of 5 skill sets that you have currently. And remember, that could be soft skills like leadership or communication, or that can be skill sets like photography, something where it's more of like a hard skill set. Then identify the problems, fears, and desires of the people in the niches that you listed. So for people who are interested in like, let me think of something that's not affiliate marketing, like addiction recovery. So what are the problems, fears, and desires? So problems in that niche, obviously people have addictions. They're ruining their lives or hurting their health, hurting their relationships, damaging their finances because of their addiction. What are their fears? They fear death from their addiction. They fear that they've ruined their life irreparably. They also, like, despite the fear of death, they're also afraid of living. And what are the desires? I would say some of the healthy desires obviously would be recovery, long-term sobriety, being clean long-term, community, like communing with other people, other addicts and alcoholics who also want long-term sobriety. Desires rebuilding their life, rebuilding their credit or their finances, finding safe housing, finding a job. Like, so that just kind of gives you an idea of, obviously that's a niche that I know about, that I'm passionate about. And I know those problems, those fears, and those desires pretty intimately. So if we kind of follow that along to the next row, which of these is the most taxing or powerful? So, and I'm actually going to come back to the point I was going to make after we're done going through all these boxes, but which of these is the most taxing or powerful of those problems and those fears? So I would say the fear of death, but also kind of coupled with that is the fear of not thriving, because I think this is true for most humans, but we don't want to just survive. We don't want to, as recovering addicts and alcoholics, don't want to just be out there constantly having cravings for drugs and alcohol and thinking about it all the time, but just the not drinking or not using. Like, that's not life. That's just being alive. And so wanting to survive, but also wanting to thrive. So rebuilding relationships with people, learning how to be someone that is worth trusting, finding meaningful employment. So those are just some examples of like the most powerful problems and fears and desires that niche would have. So what does that transformation look like from current self to desired self or desired situation? So let's say that the current situation is someone who is brand new to recovery. So they are one day clean or sober, and now they want to look at the process of rebuilding their life, but they don't know how. And so what that desired situation looks like, that could be something like, owning your own home, having meaningful employment, having a partner or a spouse, and having your family trust you again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So moving to the next box, do you have the knowledge, the skills and knowledge to solve this problem? So if you are someone that has experienced that transformation, so for someone like me, who's gone from, that current state, which is being newly clean and sober, to that desired outcome, which is, having meaningful employment, having safe housing, having a relationship, having rebuilt trust with family and friends, that kind of a thing. Yes, I do have the knowledge and skills to solve this. So move on to the next box. List ways I can help my audience. So I can talk about mindset shifts that need to happen in order to maintain long-term sobriety. I can talk about habits that need to form. I could talk about going to 12-step meetings. I can talk about alternatives to going to 12-step meetings, because it's not just AA and NA out there. There are other kinds of meetings that are built to help keep people clean and sober. So I can create content that's going to help my audience by letting them know all of the things I've gained through experience, and let them know, hey, here's a shortcut, or here's how to find a good sponsor, that type of a thing. What is the clear problem that you're solving? And this is probably not the best example, but I just wanted to use something outside of affiliate marketing. So what is a clear problem you're solving? So let's say, okay, let's really niche down for me in this example. So I want to help people, busy executives, let's say, stay clean and sober so that they don't ruin their lives, they don't ruin their business, and they don't fall from having a great life to the pits of addiction. So what's the clear problem I'm solving? So let's say I'm a coach, a sobriety coach. Somebody was just talking to me about this the other day, but basically works one-on-one with people to help them develop the mindset, the habit, etc., to stay clean and sober. And so maybe this person feels like they don't have time, or for whatever reason, they don't want to go to AA, and they want to hire a coach and really have that one-on-one, like that help. And so the clear problem that I'm solving is helping develop skills and habits and mindset shifts in order to achieve long-term sobriety. So who has solved this and how? So think of your competition and look to them to see how they've solved this problem for the people in your audience. And so I could just go on Google and start by looking for recovery coaches or sobriety coaches and see, basically reverse engineer what the solution is that they offer, to get more information about it, to get more information about what that solution looks like, what the skills are required to achieve that solution, et cetera. And that kind of goes into market research. And so once you've reached that stage, once you've reached like who has solved this and how, what that competition looks like. Now make a list of the things that you'll need to nail that solution. So knowledge, skills, experience, expertise, credentials. So stepping away from like the recovery illustration. So let's say I am an affiliate marketer and I'm promoting an affiliate marketing education product. And I really want to work with like single moms, like stay-at-home moms or single moms that work a 9-to-5 job and have to provide for their kids. So what are the specific pieces of knowledge, the specific skills, experiences, expertise, and credentials that I need to accomplish or gain or achieve to really nail a solution, a specific solution, going back, what is the clear problem that you're solving? Like, what's that list look like to nail that solution for that audience? And I think Carol's saying, because that probably speaks to you, right?
It does.
So it's like, I would imagine that, and growing, like my parents, I think I mentioned this on a previous or our last call, but my parents got divorced when I was little. My dad left. And so this is very like, my mom worked a couple jobs to provide for us. And so it's like, okay, what's the knowledge that someone would need to have to like cater to that group of people? So knowledge would be the stuff that you've probably learned, Carol, by like doing this, right? Like you've learned how to build a funnel. You've learned, about an email sequence. You've learned about creating content. So that's like the knowledge type of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also like the skills, like your content now is probably better than when you first started. Am I right?
Yeah, it is so much better.
Yeah, I think that's true of most of us. But we can go through and go down the list of experience, expertise, credentials. And obviously you have expertise in being a single mom to 3 boys, right? And so you kind of have learned like how to make this work, what are the tools, like, or what are the habits that you had to form and develop that can be
the schedule and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. That can be like a shortcut to any of those other moms that are watching your content. That's like, oh, she knows exactly what I need because she's using that same language that I would use to describe like what my problem is. And she obviously has a solution.
Epiphany.
But I also want to go back to this, and you may have heard me talk about how to pick your niche in a different way. And it kind of does go along the same line, but this is like a shortcut, or this is how I tell people to pick a niche is think of the one thing that you could make a change to in your life that would have the single biggest impact in your life. So as an example, so me a year ago, the single biggest thing that could change in my own life would be to build some kind of online business that would allow me to quit my job. That was the thing that would transform my entire life. And it has, but it might not be that. It could be losing 50 pounds, and keeping that weight off. It could be completely repairing a relationship with like a child or your spouse. That could be the biggest transformation that you could achieve that would have the hugest impact on your own life. So what I tell people is think of that transformation. Like think of what would change your life. Then go out and make a list of, or let me take a step back. Who else has achieved that transformation and how did they do it? So that could be your competition, or that could just be someone that you like look up to and idolize. But then make a list of the things that you need to achieve that transformation yourself. And the reason why this all ties together, and if you've done the homework, you definitely know, if you have gone through and achieved that transformation and your avatar is a previous version of you, then you can, as you're going through and pursuing that transformation, you can turn around and say, hey, avatar, Betty, whatever your avatar's name is, like I'm in the process of doing this and I used to be you. Like I'm literally talking directly to you. And so follow along, because like this is just like a view of where you could be if you decide to take whatever action. Like this is just a preview of your future. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Crystal clear.
Cool. And I would also add, it's like we don't know what we don't know, right? And so you might be like, well, obviously creating a 6-figure online business would transform my life. I think that's why a lot of us are here, is to figure that out. And so, and you may not know, like, okay, what's all of the knowledge? If we knew that knowledge, we wouldn't be here, because we already would have built it and done it.
Right.
But if you don't know all of the knowledge needed to achieve that outcome, or you don't know all of the skills or the experience, etc., figure out what are the next steps that you can take to figure that out. And what I would suggest is, if you know, like, who has solved this and how, go stalk that person. And we'll talk more about, I don't truly mean stalk. That was for legal purposes. This is a joke, but reverse engineer, funnel hack them and figure out like what you can glean from what they're doing and how they achieve that. Or ask them. Like I'm thinking of like an example, like Tony Robbins. You can study him and kind of like the trajectory of his life, but you can't like necessarily email him and be like, hey dude, can you tell me, like, just break down the whole process of how you've achieved this transformation? But if it's somebody like that, you know, that you can message on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, like reach out to them. And I'll also give you this like piece of advice. If it's somebody who probably has a lot of people reaching out to them and wanting something from them, I would, number one, tell them why you're reaching out to them specifically, and not so it doesn't just seem like a cookie cutter, like copy and paste message of, hey, can you help me? I need help.
Mhm.
Like if somebody gets 50 messages like that a day, that's not going to stand out. But if you say, hey, I've been watching you since your journey first started, and I really admire your authenticity in your content, and you're just like an idol to me. I'm not saying like butter them up. I'm saying be genuine with whatever it is that how you connect with them, and offer some help to them. Like if you're asking for them to take time away from their busy schedule, you can offer some kind of help to them. I don't know what that would look like. Maybe it's like, hey, I'll go live in your Facebook group, or you can come go live in my Facebook group and talk about your new product that you're launching, or, you know, something like that. Obviously you don't want to have them cannibalize your business, but what I'm saying is it will go a long way if you're reaching out for help and trying to get this kind of information from somebody who's been there and done that, to not just expect them to jump on a Zoom call with you, or not just expect them to respond to your message out of the goodness of their heart, you know.
Everybody is so helpful, Barb. I mean, I've reached out to you. I've reached out to so many. I even reached out to this one guy that lives out in Costa Rica. I forgot his name, Chris or something like that.
Yeah.
And he reached out to me. I mean, everybody wants to help everybody succeed.
Totally. Yeah. And it's funny because when you realize, I love that so much. I think what happens is so many people are worried about saturation, right? Like, oh, everybody's out there promoting this thing. And is there still room for me? Or did I miss the boat? Like, and I think what's so, it just like warms my heart to think about this, that there's really no such thing as saturation, because as long as you are being your, like the one thing that you guys all have, the one thing that I have that nobody else has is I'm me, you're you. There's only one Leslie, even though there's 2 Amy's in this group, you know what I mean? There's only one Amy, there's only one you, and that's something that nobody else can duplicate. Even if they put on their best Barb outfit and did their hair and put glasses on, all that, and talk the same. And it's like, we're as unique as our fingerprints, and that will always attract a slightly different audience. So even though me and Paulette might be promoting Legendary, her audience is going to be very different than my audience. Just in the same way that, you know, the blonde Barbie wearing with the little dog in the purse, standing in front of a Corvette or a Lambo or something, she's going to attract a completely different audience, and that's okay. To each his or her own, you know? But that's, I think that when you ask people for help and they're so willing to help because they realize there's no competition. We all are competing just really with ourselves. But I think that it's beautiful when people are so willing to help, because I think that shows that understanding that there's no scarcity. There's really not. Your audience is out there waiting for you, and they're just flipping around on TikTok, waiting, looking on YouTube. I mean, and here's a little like tangential story about my own experience. But when I first was on YouTube searching, like any good millennial would when they're unhappy with their job and trying to figure out what steps to take next. Okay, I'm not happy with my job. I need to build an online business. How do I make money online? You know, I started looking at those videos on YouTube, and I came across a YouTuber named Thomas Garretts, and he made all these kind of videos like, how to make $100 on Google using Google Maps per day, that kind of content, kind of clickbaity, if I'm being honest. But in his content, he told his story, and he was a card dealer in Minnesota at some casino, like blackjack dealer or something like that. But he was a recovering heroin addict. And I think he had been clean for 5 years at that point. So like 6 at this point. And I remember one particular video, he was sharing some of his results that he had gotten through affiliate marketing. And I just was like, the addict in me recognized the addict in him. And I thought to myself, if he can do it, I can do it. Do you know what I mean? And so he's the one. Watching his content is how I was introduced to Legendary Marketer. And that kicked off my whole online business journey. But it was like his vulnerability and his self-disclosure and telling his story that connected me to him. I watched tons of other people's content, but his is the stuff that I was like kind of binge watching and trying to figure out where my interests and my goals fit into what he was talking about. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I watched a ton of other people, and maybe they were promoting Legendary too, but I bought through him because I knew him. Like I felt like I knew him. I felt like he was somebody I would have run into at a meeting. I liked him. I liked his style, his vibe, and his backstory, and I trusted him. Because if somebody has been in recovery for that long, they're not out there to screw people over, because they'll have to make amends for it, and they won't be able to sleep at night because they know their higher power is watching. So that was kind of, I just wanted to share that as like, that was like the perfect illustration of, there were a ton of other people out there creating content, trying to get people to, click on their affiliate link, but he's the one that I felt like I trusted. And that was because he was very just real and himself and told his story. What is the impact that you want to have on your target audience? And I think you guys probably have figured out by this point, it's not all about us. It's not like impact. You mean I have to have an impact other than the money I want to hit my bank account? No, that's not what it's all about. So think of the impact that you want to have on your target audience. And I put just as an example, what like an impact statement looks like. So for example, I want to help women achieve financial and time freedom, or I want to help single moms achieve financial and time freedom, or I want to help nurses be able to quit their job and run an online business, whatever the impact is. And then what outcomes do you want your target audience to achieve? So if I'm using that example, if I want to help women achieve financial and time freedom, that's the impact. Then an example outcome, and this kind of goes back to the outcomes that you guys wrote from your SMART goal. So you can think of the impact as more like a general or blanket goal. The outcome is like the specific event that happens as a result of you trying to achieve that impact. So for that example, I will help my audience earn their first high ticket commission. Also, shout out Christina for earning your first high ticket commission. Woo, woo.
Oh yeah, congratulations. Hey.
Thank you, everyone.
So that's like a specific outcome. That's like, I can check the box, yes or no. Was this outcome achieved? So an impact it's kind of more like, think of it as more like a mission statement-ish, but we're going to talk more about mission statements here in a second. But the outcome is like a yes or no. I help them achieve that particular outcome. And you can check it off like, yes, this is measurable. This is something I can like check off that was either completed or not completed. So your mission statement is one sentence that describes who you help to do what, by, with, or through what, and if applicable, without what. So that probably sounds like gibberish, but when I show you guys the next slide, you'll see what I mean. But your mission statement, sorry, did you say something?
Oh, no.
Okay. Your mission statement should grab the attention of your target audience by resonating with them. So remember the tuning forks? That's how your mission statement should grab the attention of your target audience and effectively communicate the outcome. I'm just going to move to the next slide because I think that will really kind of nail the point I'm trying to make. So let's do like what we're going to take a few minutes. And I just want you to write down kind of like the skeleton framework. So I help blank to achieve blank by, with, or through blank and without blank. And you don't always need that without blank part. But just write this down and we'll move on to the next slide, which shows an example. So I help affiliate marketers scale to 5-figure months by building out their personal brand, their community, and systematizing their business without significantly increasing their workload. So that tells you the who. So I help affiliate marketers to achieve what? Scale to 5-figure months by, with, or through. So by building out their personal brand, their community, and systematizing their business, and then without significantly increasing their workload. So, and again, you could have, this could easily, just as easily say, I help affiliate marketers scale to 5-figure months by building out their personal brand, their community, and systematizing their business, period. But I wanted to throw that without significantly increasing their workload, just as for this example. And so creating a mission statement is not just like a busy work item that we do just for funsies or just to, feel like we're a real business or something like that. Our mission statement is like our template that we use to hold everything up that we create, like everything in our funnel, from our content to our actual funnel, to the messaging and the copy we use in our email, in our Facebook group, everywhere, to make sure that what we're putting out into the world, remember, that's like what our personal brand is going to be based off of, all that content that we create, all the messaging that we have out there. So our mission statement is like the template that we hold everything up to make sure it's congruent. So remember back in elementary school, when you learn what congruent means, where it's like, you can have a triangle that's this big, that's this shape, and then you can have a triangle that is that big, that's that shape, but you want to make sure that they're the same.
Right.
So regardless of if it's a YouTube video or a TikTok video or a post in your Facebook group, or just how you conduct the way you think and how you conduct your life, that should be congruent with your mission statement. And that's why it's really important to have a really clear, coherent mission statement that you understand and you can articulate to yourself and to other people, because that's going to make it abundantly clear when you're going to create content. Hey, is this in line with my mission statement? Because if it's not, that's going to confuse the people that are viewing your content. Nigel, what's up?
Hiya. Would the mission statement evolve as we evolve as marketers?
Okay, look at
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm working at the same time.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. So you may want to revisit your mission statement whenever you kind of come to a crossroads or like a pivot point in your own business. Or whenever you get to a point of feeling like maybe like complacency, or taking a next big step, or wanting to branch out and try something different, or just on a regular time interval, maybe every 3 months, let's say, revisit your mission statement.
Could that also be an achievement milestone for yourself? So then, because I'm not sure, but I would imagine that as we go further down this path, our confidence grows.
Mhm.
And I would imagine this mission statement becomes even more clear. Yes, so clarity begins to form. So in other
Mhm.
words, we may start off believing. In other words, if we take yours and we say, I help affiliate marketers scale to 5-figure months by building so on and so forth.
Mhm.
But as an individual, you may say to yourself, no, that's not me. This
Mhm.
is actually me. And then we amend that. Would that be fair to say? Because
Absolutely.
as you said, we're all different. So I'm looking here thinking, I'm not sure what my mission statement is. That looks good, but that's not quite me. So
Yeah.
I may well look to pluck things from different people to
Mhm.
have a mission statement. But
Mhm.
as I grow, I then say, no, I actually now know what I'm about. Just as a number of people were talking at the beginning when they were going through their avatar
Mhm.
and they became emotional with it because they got deep down and dirty with themselves and said,
Mhm.
actually, this is about me. I need to open up to myself
Mhm.
before I can actually open up to anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was so much depth in what you were saying. It's almost like when we are first starting a brand new endeavor and we don't have any kind of context really built around that. It's like kind of like what I would imagine it would be like for an alien to come live on Earth, and they have infinite capacity to learn new things and learn new skills, just like we do. But so an alien comes to Earth, and at first it's going to be like looking around and like trying to figure out what everyone else is doing so that it can look human and fit in and be normal, whatever that is, and start acting like a human. And then as it gains context, it might have, oh, well, I actually have opinions and I have a point of view and specific things I want to achieve while I'm here on this earth. And so I know that's a really weird example, but it's like we all kind of have to start from somewhere. And so we might look around and be like, okay, well, I know my target audience needs more money. And so you might start somewhere. And then what you might learn over time as you're creating content, holding it up to that standard as your mission statement, is that your feelings will start to change. And so I know this sounds, maybe it sounds a little bit hippie, but our feelings are really our best indicators of if we are doing things that are in line with our highest selves. And I 1,000% believe this at the core of my being, and can give you a million examples, not just with business, but think of if you create a piece of content and you feel like sick to your stomach. I have definitely done that before, where I felt like, oh, this feels kind of yucky and gross. Like this feels disingenuous, or this feels like not in line with who I am. Maybe it will get good views, but I just felt yucky making it. You know what I mean? Or anger, something that makes us extremely angry. Like all of those like feelings that we feel are not red flags, but flags that are indicative of something. So if you feel yucky about making a piece of content and it feels like, oh, that wasn't really me, follow that feeling. And I think what you will find is that as you continue to compare each piece of content or each message that you create, every little bit and piece of your personal brand that you're putting out there in the world, as you continue to measure that against your mission statement, you're going to start to be like, oh, actually, no, I feel like this needs to change, or this needs to evolve just ever so slightly, or maybe in a big way. But that's why it's kind of important to measure your content against your mission statement, and doing that frequently, so that number one, you can have a congruent message to your audience, and they're not going to feel tricked when they get into your Facebook group and then you're actually there for another purpose, but also it's going to help you to identify if you need to change your mission statement and thereby change your content and kind of the direction you're going with your content. And it's like, it's kind of mathematical when you think about the fact that our avatar, again, is a previous version of us. As we grow and evolve and move along that line of transformation, that means that our avatar is going to kind of sneak up behind us. And so like something I've noticed in my own business, just like for, clarity and just full transparency, when I first started doing affiliate marketing, I was trying to help people who were like me just a few months ago. And so what that looked like was people that didn't have an online business, that didn't really know even that they wanted an online business, but they knew they weren't happy at their job and they wanted some other way out. They wanted to do something different, but they weren't sure what that looked like. And so that was me when I first started. Now at this point, I like to work with, and I'm not saying I don't like to work with people who haven't started their business yet, but I think what I'm finding is that I like to work with people who've already kind of taken that plunge, that they already know they want to start a business. They want to do affiliate marketing, and they're either wanting to create content or already creating that content. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's less about someone that doesn't even know what affiliate marketing is or has never heard of online business before, to kind of a more, seasoned caliber of folks like you guys. So
Right.
Yeah, as your business grows and as you grow as an entrepreneur and progress on that line of transformation in your own life, then it's kind of a natural process that you will, like your avatar will progress with you, and you might change and go off on a different direction. And if that's the case, then your avatar will change. So you can kind of think of it as like you have a rope tied around your waist and your avatar is like a little bit behind you. And so if you go that way, your avatar is going to go that way. If you go this way, if you stop and slow down, or if you, catapult forward, then your avatar is going to do the same.
Mhm.
But once you've earned your first commission, you can be like, hey, I know how to start making money online, and that's absolutely true. And like, actually that makes a good point, Jamie, is you don't ever want to promise a transformation that you haven't achieved.
True.
So either a transformation of your own, meaning like I could go out there and promote a keto product or keto diet, because I need to, start eating keto again as I sit here poking my belly. But I've lost like 35 pounds before eating keto and working out. And I like know how that goes, even though I'm not currently there, I'm not in the best shape. But if you've never achieved that transformation yourself personally, you can still help people achieve that transformation, by using, and we don't need to like go off on too much of a tangent because I want to be cognizant of time, but you can still help other people to achieve that transformation through done for you services. So for example, and I'll just use this as a really quick example to illustrate a point and then we can move on. So for example, if you wanted to create an affiliate marketing coaching offer, but you, I don't know, aren't making six figures or don't feel like confident that you are at a place where you've achieved much, even though you've, done pretty well and had some high ticket commissions, but it's not like life altering money. So you don't feel like that confidence to have like a full coaching program type of offer. You could start by offering to set people's funnel and email autoresponder and their TikTok account, set that stuff up for them, and then offer like a month of TikTok content coaching, and you can help that person get their business set up. So their sales funnel up and running, their autoresponder connected and up and running, their TikTok account set up, optimized bio, optimized profile, etc. And then tell them, okay, this is how you create content. Then they go out and do it. Then they get to 1,000 followers, put their link in their bio, and they start driving traffic. And now if that person makes money, then you can be like, hey, I help people get their affiliate marketing business up and running and starting to make money. Does that make sense? So if you're like, well, I haven't, achieved anything huge and crazy, then start with like a done for you service. Do you know what I mean? And I'm speaking to someone specific who may be watching on the call or maybe watching the replay, but I just wanted to offer that as, and finding products and services that you can promote and sell based on the direction your brand is going. And I put in parentheses high ticket because that's the way that you're going to create a long-term sustainable business. Sorry, I'm just reading the chats as well. So think of, again, this goes back to like congruency and our messaging being congruent, our content being congruent with our mission statement, and the types of products that we promote being congruent with our mission statement and our values. Going back to our first call that we had this week, we talked about like what kind of building your character, not a character. So building the ideal or higher version of yourself and what those values and what that tone and that personality looks like that you want to convey through your content. And so just like as an example, and I think we talked about this on the previous call, but the values, the things that are important to me, just as an example, are things like growth, purpose, being of service to others, growth mindset, and like doing uncomfortable or hard things for the sake of growth and self-improvement. Like those are just some examples. And like finding a life. I have this theory that we all have something that we deeply desire. And then we all have fear and self-limiting beliefs that prevent us from pursuing that. But it's in the pursuit of that thing that we really deeply desire where we will experience why we are put on earth, in my opinion. And that is to learn and overcome difficulties and discomfort to achieve our higher self and then turn around and help other people to do the same. And so keeping like using that as an example and keeping that in mind, what are the products and services that I could promote or something that I could create and sell myself, like my own product or service based on the direction that my brand is going. So knowing that about me, that those are my values, those are like a handful of my values. Like, for example, I promote Legendary Marketer. That's an affiliate product that I promote. So is that in line with growth and learning and being of service to others and like freedom and all those things that I was mentioning? Yes. Always, and with integrity. Those are all things that are very important to me. And that's also brand values that Legendary Marketer espouses. So you want to find products that line up with who you are and what you're about and who you're here to help. And always high ticket is best because that's what's going to earn you the most money.
What is funnel hacking?
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
So in like researching your competitors or other people in your niche that are offering a similar transformation or the same solution to the problem of your target audience. So that could be people who are promoting the same thing as you, like Legendary Marketer, just as an example. So other people who are promoting the same thing, those would be your competitors. And then you can think of your dream 100 as like, for me, like one of my dream 100 is Rachel Peterson. So that's someone who you greatly admire. Like you would just explode if Rachel Peterson once commented on one of my videos. I screenshotted it. I almost died. I sent it to all my like girlfriends in my like our chat group. I was like, you guys look, they're all affiliate marketers, and they were like screaming.
But see, I mean, she is so down to earth. It's like
No.
she was where we
awesome.
were once. She's got like 1 million viewers. Oh my
Mhm.
God.
Yeah, I love Rachel Peterson. So if, for those of you who don't know her, don't follow her on TikTok, she has close to 1 million followers on TikTok. She runs a couple like marketing agencies, has multiple businesses, makes 7 figures a year, was a single mom, was an
Welfare.
alcoholic.
She was on food stamps too, right?
Yeah, she was on food stamps.
So inspiring.
Yeah, she's
I'm part of her like group text. Like she
Oh,
sends
yeah.
me inspirational text every day. I don't know if you guys
What?
have
Oh my
that.
God.
What? I want on that.
I'll put
I
it
know,
on the chat. It's
Same.
really cute. I love it. It makes me happy.
Did y'all see the video where she like shows her belly? She's like, those who get it,
Heck
get
yeah,
it. Those who
that was
don't
so
know.
inspiring.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, she's real.
The
She's not a
perfect-
Barbie.
That's because when you look at her, she looks like Reese Witherspoon, and that's
She
all you
does.
see.
Yes.
But she goes out of her way to be like, hey, look at me, like here's the real me, flaws and all. And it just endears people to her so much because she's so real and so just like makes it okay to be you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I love her. So
Yeah.
she's in my dream 100. But researching and funnel hacking, and we'll talk about what funnel hacking is, but like researching who these people are, what their offers are, what does their content look like? Like you can think of, so if you think here's your funnel, content is at the top and conversions down at the bottom. So here's our content, then it's like there's a call to action to click the link in our bio and opt in. So here's our opt-in page, then our bridge page, then the sales page, and then sales happen down here. And there's also like email marketing that takes place, in that funnel. But look at their content, look at their messaging. Like if you start to think, okay, what's their mission statement, or like who's the audience that they serve, and how is that different from me? But you start to reverse engineer like their process, and they're successful. Like for example, if you are familiar with Brian Brewer, he's like a behemoth in the affiliate marketing education space, and you can funnel hack him. You could click the link in his TikTok bio and see what is he promoting, what is his funnel, like the actual funnel look like, what kind of messaging, like what are the headlines that he uses in the funnel, what is he trying to convey, like what can I glean about the words that he's using in his copy that tell me who he's trying to talk to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then get on his email list and see what kind of emails he says, see what the messaging that he uses in there, and like hold that stuff up and try to see if you can like reverse engineer what his funnel looks like. You know what I mean?
Got it. Yeah.
He used
And
to give it for free, his email and everything. Like I think when he did like the affiliate escape plan, the first one,
yeah,
he would give you everything for free, like the funnel and the email. Like all you had to do was like copy and paste and then like switch it to your own stuff.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and you probably have seen 1 million affiliate marketers out there that have like Brian Brewer's funnel, and that use his email swipes. But it's like knowing all that you know now about avatar and mission statements and how you differentiate yourself to your specific audience and your specific avatar. You can start figuring out, and it's so fun and amazing too. Like Rachel Peterson's a great example because it's very obvious and clear who her audience is, like very, very clear by the types of content that she puts out. She's talking to people like her, single moms that were down in the dumps that maybe feel like crap about their body. But it's very clear, like that is the person that she's talking to. That doesn't mean that's the only type of person that follows her. She probably has, I follow her, I'm obsessed with her, and I don't have kids. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and there are men following her. And so your message is going to resonate with the folks that it's going to resonate with. But by virtue of like creating authentic and valuable content, it's also going to resonate with other people who are just like, oh, I like her vibe, or she has something really good to say, or her videos are funny, or they're interesting, or you know what I mean? So, excuse me. But by funnel hacking, meaning, going out and finding those competitors and finding those dream people that you would die if they ever followed you or commented on your content, you can kind of take this whole process that we're learning and figure out, okay, this is what their funnel looks like from their sales page or their emails all the way up to their content, and like reverse engineer their mission statement based on all of these kind of pieces of the puzzle. And you can utilize that to figure out how to better put those pieces of the puzzle together for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's basically a content
Absolutely.
building process and tool is funnel hacking people, gaining context figuring out what they're doing. Oh, interesting. I wonder why they did it that way. Oh, this person did it differently. And then putting those pieces of the puzzle together so that you have a full picture of what that competition or what that higher level that Dream 100 folks look like. So feedback loops. So we are constantly receiving positive and negative feedback from our market, from our potential customers. That happens through us creating content. And then we get views, we get likes, we get comments, we get people reaching out to us in our DMs, we get people taking action based on that content, joining our Facebook group or opting into our email list. We can also connect with people more directly through DMs or through discovery or sales calls. And discovery and sales calls is basically just getting on the phone with people and figuring out, hey, what are your pain points? Do I have something that can ameliorate or help those pain points or move you closer to the target outcome or the goal that you want to achieve? But having those conversations is part of market research, and you're getting direct feedback from your market. And so you can think of the creating content, the connecting through DMs and sales calls. That's like our customer touch point. So think of that as like the top of a circle. And then we get feedback from our customers. So that could be like, hey, I like this content. This was helpful. Or I'm having this pain point, or I'm struggling with this. I need help with this. So that's like the feedback. And then we iterate based on that. We make changes. So and I really want to like drive this point home that when we create content, like let's say we're creating content on TikTok, if we get feedback from our market that they don't like that content or they're not interested in that content, meaning we don't get a lot of engagement, we're not getting a lot of comments, people are not choosing to like stay to the end of the video, and that's based on looking at our TikTok analytics, then that doesn't mean you're stupid. That doesn't mean you're dumb. That doesn't mean everyone hates you or you should quit. That doesn't mean any of that. It's purely feedback that we get from our target market that tells us you're getting colder.
To change something.
Yeah, you need to change something. You need to iterate. Exactly. And so look at your content with a critical eye. And instead of being like, oh, I'm stupid, I should quit. I put myself out there and now everyone hates me and that means I'm bad. Instead of thinking of it like that, think of it as, okay, so they don't like this, so I can cross that thing off my list. Or maybe there was just some aspect of it. Maybe the video was too long. Maybe the actual topic was good, but try making that same topic in a shorter video. Or maybe you didn't use a visual hook at the beginning of your video where you put text on the screen like in red and you use a word like you, like tell the person why they should care about watching this video. Like who's this video for and why should they keep watching? So like, do you want to lose 10 pounds this month? Or are you trying to lose stubborn belly fat before summer? Like that tells who would be interested in watching this and why they should keep watching. Because the implication is you're going to give that solution or you're going to give more information about that.
Right.
So if a piece of content flops, that doesn't mean anything other than iterate, try something different, test something out. And Sarah King, if you're not watching this live, you'll be watching the replay, but we were just having this conversation and she was talking about how she reposted the same video, but changed the caption or something and had like a vastly different response. So don't be afraid to post the same content twice. Maybe don't post it more than that, and change something, like change the text that you put on the screen at the beginning to a different visual hook, change the caption, change the hashtags. I think she changed the hashtags. And then after we get that feedback from the iteration, that'll tell us, okay, you're moving warmer again, or you're moving colder. But it's just a constant process of creating content, getting feedback, changing things or iterating, and then getting more feedback. And it just keeps going around and around. And something I want to mention is as affiliate marketers, so when we're promoting other people's products, we can't change that product. I mean, unless we choose to stop promoting that product and promote a different one. That's another product that lines up with our values and who we are and what we're about. So what we have control over is our content, our messaging, or our offering, meaning what products we promote or what products we actually create, products and services that we create and sell. So we have control over the content we create. We have control over the funnel we build, the emails that we send, the content we post in our Facebook group, the content we create on YouTube, whether or not we're reaching out to people on Facebook DM to try to see what help they need and get feedback from our market. What we do not have control over is sales. Like we definitely do have an influence over whether or not people make it through our funnel and end up converting and we get a sale, but we don't have control over them actually buying or, buying that product. We don't have control over if people watch our whole video and take that call to action. We have influence over it. We can improve and iterate, but getting frustrated and getting upset about things that are outside of our control, like the actions of other people or somebody leaving a nasty comment on our video, it is a waste of our time. And I know it's tempting. To myself, I'm saying this the most of all. It's tempting to get upset about that kind of stuff, but it's crazy making to focus your time and energy on things that are outside of your control. Just like the serenity prayer says, always taking it back to a 12-step meeting, but grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So be sure that you can differentiate between, okay, this is stuff that I'm getting feedback about and I have control over. I can change the messaging in my content. I can change my funnel. But ultimately, if I choose to promote Legendary Marketer and they are, they use some kind of word or terminology, or they have some kind of messaging that I have no control over, but I still want to promote them, then I just have to deal with it and change my messaging to be congruent.